All righty. It's another day, another blessing, another opportunity for another show. How you doing? I am the radio guy, the Dr. Mike Prince. Welcome to the Mike Prince Show. We come to you daily, of course, right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. The Twitter and Facebook handle is the Mike Prince Show. The website is obnradio.com. Don't forget, we're in the middle of our listening partner drive. You can become a listening partner by simply going to the website at obnradio.com, clicking on the PayPal button. We ask if you would help us by joining forces with us by committing to 17 cents a day, $5 a month, to help our calls and programming here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And without any further ado, we'll jump right into today's episode. Well, the Panthers getting on their traveling shoes, ready to take on the Runnin Rebels from UNLV. We'll hear from Coach Sanchez a little bit later on in the show. We're also going to hear a little bit from the Ghost on today. And we'll kind of break down and give some assessments of some things that are going to be a necessity for the Panthers. And, of course, we'll have our MEAC game of the week and our SWAC game of the week. And we'll pick who we think is going to win. Now, of course, with the SWAC game of the week, we're going to always highlight the Panthers, but we'll always try to pick another game to compensate for their Panthers. So I guess in essence, it'll be 3 games a week that we'll pick, and we'll go from there. We know that the Panthers fell short to the Sam Houston Bearcats by the score of 41-32, a couple of blown opportunities. And when you first look at this schedule, you know without any hesitation that this was a very difficult schedule. And as far as I am concerned, you always pull for the purple and gold, but then you have to be realistic on your expectations as well. And some of you are so emotional when I try to speak a little bit of logic. If you think I'm going against Prairie View, then you're calling me a treasonous and this, that, and the other. But that is not the case. I'm Prairie View through and through. But when you look at the schedule, if you look at football minds across the country, and they look at that schedule, yes, we were in each game. And yes, arguably, we could have won and should have won all 3 games. But when you look at it from a pay-per-view, the Panthers are pretty much where we expect them to be, at least from my opinion. It's going to be another tall order for the Panthers this week. They'll be assigned to try and control a young man who's been running wild, if you would, who has some Houston ties. Lexington Thomas is the leading rusher for the Runnin Rebels. He was able to establish 136 yards, a touchdown, and a fumble against USC. And he followed that with a performance against UTEP for 127 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Panthers are going to have to bow their necks from beginning to end in this one coming up against the Runnin Rebels. As I mentioned, we'll get a chance to hear from Tony Sanchez of the Runnin Rebels. But what we're going to do now is switch over to our conversation with the Ghost, Eric Dooley, on the SWAC media line, which took place this past Monday.
When we talk about the 3 phases of the game, right now, as you say, we don't take moral victories, but how is it that you are assessing your team right now with where you are? When we look at it, of course, we want to win every game, but realistically, what I've always said from the beginning, one of the toughest schedules around, I know you wouldn't have it any other way. Are you where you expected to be minus the wins and loss columns with the development of your team?
No, I'll be honest with you. I reach for the stars. I think we should be a little further along than what we are, and that's why we're going to continue to work. We got to make some assessments in all three phases of the game, offensively, defensively, as well as special team-wise, make some corrections. But the thing that I'm pleased about, there are correctable things that we can do. So we just got to continue to move forward and, keep pressing. And we understand that, those type of games are going to happen, but now you got to turn those type of games into W's, because that's what you look for. We're in a competitive league, so we know it's going to be the same type of situation when we get into conference play.
And yes, sir, I know one of the players that you were most excited to work with when you first got the job at PV was Dewanye Tucker. The fact that he is having these 200-plus games, we know that probably won't happen throughout the course of the season. I would love for it to happen. But what are some of the things that you're going to see have to be improved as far as keeping a balanced attack from the passing angle?
Well, I think we just got to continue to execute the way that we are doing it and stay consistent. I'm pleased with what he's doing. He's the type of guy that I like in the backfield. We got some other guys that can run the football as well, and we got some guys that has to develop as the season go on. But if you can keep that trend going with that type of running game, you put yourself in a good situation. So we know we got to continue, because it's not a secret. So we got to continue to work on those little things and make sure that the passing game is just as important as the run game also.
Tony Sanchez, head football coach at UNLV, they exploded for 52 points against UTEP this past weekend. What are you seeing are going to be some of the keys for the Panthers to steal a win on the road in Las Vegas?
Well, they actually have a young man that's here from Houston, Texas. That's their star running back. So we know we got to be able to shut down the run game, and we got to be able to establish ourselves on offense and move the chains and put ourselves in better situation when it come down to third down. But they did explode. I had an opportunity to take a look at that and see some of the things that they're doing. I'm pretty sure that they're feeling good about themselves as well. But we're gonna go down to Las Vegas, and just like any other game, we're gonna lay it on the line, and we're gonna play for 60 minutes.
And, of course, that was the Ghost coach Eric Dooley by way of the SWAC Media Line, which is held on Monday mornings. And we were fortunate enough to get in and get a couple of questions with the coach. As you heard him make reference to Mr. Lexington Thomas, that will be the tall order of the day for the Panthers. Now, the Panthers have been improving defensively each week, but this by far is going to be their tallest task of this young season. And how Coach Miller will adjust his scheme, rotate those guys up front in particular in and out, because truly when it comes down to the FBS games, it's about the interior lines. There's no secret about it. Skill positions, no doubt about it. You're right there with them. But these games are won and lost in the trenches. And you may have heard Coach mention about other backs that need to be worked in. PV Nation, before you start hissing and booing me, just hear me out. Depending on the flow of the game, I would not have a problem if Coach Dooley were to decide to pull Dewanye Tucker back and save his bumps and bruises for the next week's opponent, which is your conference opener against Arkansas Pine Bluff. And hear me why I say this. Right now, and I don't even normally like doing this, but Dewanye Tucker is the franchise. And you want to keep the franchise as healthy as possible, and you want to use franchise in the games that will mean the most. Yes, this game is going to be important, but it's not as important as your conference games. And depending on the flow of the game, how the game is going, I would expect to see a lot of good water and a lot of broach in this contest. That's just one man's opinion. I believe this could be a great opportunity for PV Nation to get some other guys to gain some very, very valuable game time experience. But we'll play it by ear and see exactly how things go. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll hear from Coach Tony Sanchez of the UNLV Rebels. You're listening to the Mike Prince Show on the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and we'll be right back. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? This is the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, and of course, we always try to get you in-depth, inside reporting on the world of Prairie View A&M University. And this week's opponent for the Panthers will be none other than the Runnin Rebels of UNLV, and we're fortunate to have on the line with us right now head football coach Tony Sanchez. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you having me on.
All right. We appreciate having you on. Let's just jump right into this thing. You guys come out on fire. You battle against USC. And for lack of a better word, you were on full throttle last week against UTEP, scoring 52 points. Now you're ready to take on another Texas team. Give us a recap on the development of where your team has come from in this 2018 campaign.
Yeah, well, this is year 4 for me here, and this is a rebuilding project, and I think we've done a decent job of recruiting guys up front. That was probably the biggest deficit we had the first couple of years. We just weren't real physical, weren't real big and strong up front on either side of the ball, and didn't really have any depth, and we've done a good job. We've brought some good skill guys in. Actually, a guy out of Houston, Lexington Thomas, has been real special for us, along with Xavier Campbell. But I tell you what, bringing those big guys in, it's made such a difference. I mean, at the USC game, one of the biggest revealing things there was, that offensive line is big, it's physical, and they did a really good job of opening up holes and allowing Armani to have some time to throw the ball. And then defensively, did a really good job of just getting after it and competing in the trenches, something we've struggled with in the past. So it was good to see. I thought we let some things go at the end of the first half in that game. We had a ball we should have caught in the end zone that would have given us a 21-12 lead, and that probably would have changed the dynamic of the first half, and played a solid third quarter, and then it just kind of got away from us at the end. But thought the effort was good, definitely things to clean up. And then in week 2, taking on UTEP, again, that's a program in transition, probably similar to where we were a bunch of years ago with Coach Dimmel, doing a good job there. And our guys played well. I mean, when we came out defensively a little bit sluggish at the beginning, quarterback run game, which we're going to have to watch against you guys this coming up week, we had to adjust to that. And once we did, we played a pretty good game on defense and offensively. We came out and scored, 5 of the 6 first possessions, which was really good to see our guys just, execute at a high level. So, you know how it is. I mean, going into week 3 for us, for Prairie View, for everybody, we're trying to get better at the little things, trying to get better at the processes, playing clean games, and, just getting ready for conference. So we're excited. We know this is going to be a tough game. I think Prairie View's a little more explosive than UTEP was. I like the quarterback. He's, good dual threat ability, and it seems like he always gets positive yards each game. He gets you a good 80 yards. Anytime a quarterback can do that, that stresses the defense. And then dynamic tailback, you better wrap that guy up because he can go. And then defensively, they fly around and get after it. So, I'm pleased with where we're at right now. Again, anytime you got one win and one loss, you got to worry about the loss that you had and get better from there. But excited about this week and know it's going to be a heck of a game.
We're talking right now with Tony Sanchez, head football coach of UNLV Runnin Rebels. Now, Coach, it is no secret to anyone who remotely keeps up not only with college football but high school football. You came to UNLV, for lack of a better word, as the man. You had success in 6A high school ranking. You just made mention on how you still were somewhat in transition. How challenging has it been for guys to buy into the Tony Sanchez of the collegiate coaching scenario versus that of the high school coaching scenario?
Well, I'll be honest with you, we've recruited extremely well in the Mount West. I mean, I don't know how much rankings make a difference, but if they do, we've always been in the top half and sometimes in the top 2 or 3, so done a really, really good job. And when you look at the production of the players that we have, some of our young guys, I mean, right now you got, Armani Rogers, who's Mount West Freshman of the Year. You got Lexington Thomas, who's, I think, 900 yards away from being the all-time leading school rushing record. Charles Williams 2 years ago broke the freshman rushing record. And, we've got an offensive line that's just been extremely good. I mean, in defensively, we've had some guys playing in the league. So we've recruited at a high level, and I think that's why we're playing good football now. So honestly, in this day and age, I think doing that Snoop and Son show helped a little bit. I think when you look at guys like, Malzahn and Chad Morris and Art Briles and, just all those guys that immediately jumped onto the college scene. And I tell people this all the time. High school coaches changed football more than college coaches did because all those guys I just mentioned were the first guys to run the no-huddle spread and run the broken wing team. I mean, they were brought to the college level to kind of change the game, and that's what they've done and had a lot of success doing it. So I just think I'm kind of following in their footsteps. I mean, I made the immediate jump. I didn't think it would work out that way. But to me, the football end hasn't been much of a transition, and it has never been difficult to recruit. And we've also raised $25 million for a brand new football complex that I'm staring at right now that's under construction.
Well, that is always exciting news. Of course, Prairie View just completed their new construction with their facility here in Texas. Now, Coach, there is no secret that there was a huge upset last season when you guys fell to the Howard Bison. What, if anything, message did that send to you, your staff, your players, and how are you directing that as you prepare for the Panthers this week?
Well, I mean, last year, obviously, it was one of those deals where we had to challenge those guys to lock back in, and we went and got a win the next week. And that was frustrating. It was tough. I mean, it's, one of those deals where, you're expected to win those games. We expect to win those games. But, it's one of those deals where, if you're a coach, that, man, every one of those guys on that team's on scholarship, too. And good team. I think they went out and won 7 or some odd games. And, we played a decent game offensively, scoring 40, but gave up 43. And we had a 82-yard scoop and score that they got for a touchdown. We had 4 false starts inside the 20, and we missed 3 field goals in that game. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. And the biggest thing there was the details. It's all about details. I don't care who you're playing. If you're playing USC, playing Howard, you're playing Prairie View, you're playing UTEP, it makes no difference. You have to take care and you have to own the details, the things that are controllable. So if you can control the 80% of the game, like Bill Walsh said, that you can control, you're going to have success more times than not. So we haven't brought it up all week. We don't need to bring it up. Our guys have, they've had a lot of life experiences, done some really good things. They've also been through some really tough moments like that game last year. So we're locked in and we're ready to go.
Locked and ready to go. The Panthers and the Rebels will kick off 7 o'clock local time, and it will be 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So you're going to have to set your alarms if you're like me so you can get up and stay up and don't let the night lights trick you out. Now, Coach, as custom here, we like to give you some closing thoughts and comments, and we'll now turn the floor back over to you.
Yeah, no, again, I appreciate you having me on. We're excited about this football game. We think Prairie View is a good team. We know that they're going to challenge us in a lot of different ways. Again, I mentioned that they're running back and quarterback, and you got dynamic receiver number 11. So you guys do a really good job there. And, and defensively, man, it's a team that runs around. It's really physical, a lot of different stunts. They're going to give you some different looks. So, heck, I know they're going to be coming ready to fire up to play. They played Rice down the wire. Tough game last week, too. They very easily could have walked away with the win last week. And so, it's a good team. They're going to win a bunch of games this year. So excited about it. And just, the challenge is these next couple of days, getting my guys locked in, just like Coach is doing over there. And we'll have a hell of a game on our hands on Saturday night.
Well, Coach, the Rebels are off to a pretty good start, and I know you're always excited about that. And the Panthers are off to a pretty good start here in PV Nation, so it should be a very good game. We're hoping that it's a competitive game, a game where both teams come out healthy and ready for their conference play. And we do appreciate you very much for taking the time out with us here on the Mike Prince Show and the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
All right, man. Hey, appreciate you having me on. And I tell everyone out there, I always love that Houston barbecue. So you guys be good.
Well, look, you got that Houston barbecue when you went and recruited the running back.
Hey, every time I go out there, I eat that.
All right, Absolutely. Coach. Thanks a lot. And maybe we'll try to bring you a little barbecue with us when we get there. How about that?
I wouldn't mind that at all.
Any particular place you like?
Oh, man, there are all kinds. Cedric Cormier, our wide receiver coach, he's from out there, so he takes me to a different spot every time. None of it's ever disappointed.
All right, Coach. We'll try to remember that on the flight in, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Take care now.
All right. Tony Sanchez of the UNLV Runnin Rebels. I am the radio guy to Dr. Mike Prince. We'll be right back.
My name is Carter. You listen to my papa at 87.9 FM.
Dallas, it's coming. September 29th, history will be made on this date. September 29th in Dallas, Texas only. Multiple concerts.
It only happens once per year.
70,000 people in one location.
Thousands of people.
All-day activities. Don't change this station. Listen for more info.
People are coming from Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, all over the country. Dallas, get ready. The biggest yet. The biggest
The biggest one-day event in the state of Texas, and it only happens once per year. This is an event where you can bring your whole family, your friends, your girls, your boys, your crew, an entire day of entertainment. It's happening September 29th, only in Dallas, Texas.
Keep listening for more details for this major event. And most importantly, do not touch your radio dial.
And welcome back to the Mike Prince Show right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Remind you that we are in the middle of our listening partner drive. You can become a listening partner with us here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network and be part of the movement that helps highlight and spotlight our student athletics, not only just at Prairie View, but in the surrounding area. We've been taking care of the local and regional high school areas since 2002. You can simply go to the website at obnradio.com, click on the PayPal button, and at a commitment of 17 cents a day, $5 a month, you can become part of the Listening Partnership Drive. Your contribution truly does make a difference. Go ahead and make your donation today. Simply go to obnradio.com. Well, this show has definitely been one full of information and tidbits, which is what we strive to do for you each and every day here on the Mike Prince Show. We are now to the segment where I'm going to designate my MEAC game of the week and my SWAC game of the week. My MEAC game of the week kind of cheated a little bit because it involves a SWAC team. It's going to be FAMU hosting Jackson State. Shotgun Willie Simmons taking on Coach Tony Hughes down in Tallahassee. Should be a very interesting game. I'll give my picks on these games tomorrow's show, but our MEAC game of the week will be FAMU hosting Jackson State. And other than the Prairie View taking on UNLV game, our SWAC game of the week will be Texas Southern at the reservation taking on Alcorn. Those three games will be our featured games of the week. We'll break down the ins and outs of those games and further break down what the Panthers will have to do to be successful for their event against the Runnin Rebels. I want to thank you all so much for joining us on today. Remember, the website is obnradio.com. The Twitter handle and the Instagram handle is The Mike Prince Show. And, of course, we're on YouTube and Facebook at Open Mic Broadcast Network. OPEN, capital MIC, that's all one word running together, Broadcast Network. I'm out of time right now, and I must exit stage left. But until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.